Session 12. It's just a number, but it means so much to so many different perspectives and paradigms. Rich and Kate have actually turned into pillows. I just want everybody that didn't know, I want you guys to be aware. Just cope with it as best you can. They were people long enough. I'm going to do something today I have never done before. I'm going to have my ears replaced with jalapeno soaked pickles. I've never, ever done that shit. I've been thinking about it, but that's later today. I'm going to do a couple things today I've never done before. I am going to actually start this session by selling the next program before. And I'm going to do it. I'm going to tell you right now, the reason I'm going to do it is because I have a feeling about it. And before I tell you about that feeling and why, I just want to say the other reason I'm doing it. I realize that me doing that, there's the possibility of some of you getting irritated about that. Even hearing me say it, like, oh, wait, you said sell and programming. You're supposed to be helping us on these sessions. And why would you do that? And how is that okay? And blah, 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 blah. So that's part of why I'm doing it. But it's session time. You can't be promoting yourself. You should be just serving us and helping us. Is there a possibility? Is there any possibility? Now, and listen, we don't have peer pressure and we don't have guru worship around here. And I'm so glad that I have always wiped that shit away before it ever started. I mean, I'm fucking amazing, dude. If there was a guru to be, a guru worshiping, like, fuck, it would be me. But I'm not into none of that shit. I'm really, really not. And it doesn't serve you. It doesn't serve me. There's no benefit in any of that, nor in the peer pressure or the, oh, everybody raise your hand because they did. Pretend you understand. We don't need none of that. We're undoing that and stepping into freedom. Right? So we don't need any of the shit that's not freedom. That's not our infinite selves. I just want to ask you a question. I want to encourage you, especially if you are one who has anything like sales resistance, thinks sales is slimy or bad or undesirable, sales is manipulative. Oh, I know that I'm not doing as well in my business because I just hate sales and I don't want to be salesy. Thanks, baby. You guys know what I'm talking about? So just consider this crazy question I'm about to ask you. Is it possible that me taking the first part of today's session time, devoting the first part of today's session time to selling my next program, is there any possibility that that could be beneficial for you? Think about it. Feel for just a minute now. Some of you gotta feel like, I don't know about that, because it's a weird damn question. All right. Are any of you ever engaged in selling? Any of you ever engaged in any way, shape, or form in selling? If you are, raise your hand. I want to see who doesn't. All right. Chrissy says she's not. Barbara says she's not. And Deanna says she's not. Everybody else. Nazi says she's okay. So we only have a few people who say they're not. Let me tell you something. Thank you for raising your hand. Let me tell you a secret. Well, first of all, do you, whether you raise your hand or not, especially if you didn't raise your hand, do you live in a world where there are other people? Or is it just you, Christy? You live in a world where there are other people? Okay. Nazi, do you live in a world where there are other people, or is it just you? It's just only you and you're just complete. Okay, there are other people. All right. Have you ever noticed that anything that you want in life either hinges on or affects or depends on or involves other people? Anything you want, anything ever, then you are engaged in sales every time you ever try to ask or persuade or convince your daughter or your friend or your lover or your husband or your wife or your dog, come on over here, come on over, come. Okay, here's your treat, come on. It's all fucking sales, baby. And the thing is, there's nothing in the world wrong or bad in any way, shape, or form wrong with sales. But oh my God, almost everybody is completely in hatred and fear of it because we were little and we saw mom and dad cornered by the vacuum cleaner salesman. And mom and dad did not have the emotional, mental tools. And as he just said, I'm a lousy salesperson. That's right, because you said, partly because you said I'm not involved in sales. Everybody who thinks they're not in sales is a shitty fucking salesperson. Every one of them without exception. Think about it. You have a difficult time sometimes getting what you want. You feel difficult, uncomfortable sometimes asking for what you want. You feel sometimes scared to get what you want because you know it's going to come with a price. Now, listen, I'm telling you that everything is sales. Everything that happens between two humans is always communication, and communications always has an element of sales. And if we would eliminate all the things we think and believe that we know about sales, much of which is hidden from us by us, and lots of it tangled up in emotions that we don't want to feel. Oh, shit. That actually makes sense. Oh my God, this level 5 stuff, it actually might work at something. We're all in sales, baby, trying to convince the other person of something sometimes to get something that we want or need. And if you believe that sales is manipulative at all, if you believe it, let me let you in on a secret. You feel guilty for being manipulative sometimes. Ooh. Okay, that last sentence, you just got your money's worth for this session. So don't give me no shit. If you take what I just said and you use it, you just got your money's worth. No, I'm sorry. If you're involved in sales, you just got your money's worth for the fucking course with those last couple minutes. Now, you're the one who's got to unpack it and pull all the gifts out of the bag I just handed you. If you in any way, shape, or form, if you think that sales is slimy or manipulative, or you gotta manipulate, I know what you got to do to be in sales, then I'm telling you, you feel guilty and slimy and manipulative sometimes about what you've done. That whole thing about when you point the finger, you're pointing 3 back at you, that's not bullshit. It's not really relevant. It just happens to by chance be actually true. Look, oh, fuck. So I was at the point where mom and dad were cornered by the vacuum cleaner salesman or the encyclopedia salesman or saleswoman, perhaps. I'm not getting into the sales zers and shit. Like, that's somebody else's deal. If you will admit that you're selling your ideas, you're selling your desires, you're selling your preferences. I don't know, honey. Do you think the couch should go here or there? I don't really care that much, but I think it should go there. But I don't want to say it because then you'll hold it against me and that. So I'm gonna go a little further into this only because I can, and it'll help you. I want to make sure that this session makes me as much money as possible. I mean, I want to make sure that this session generates the absolute best possible benefit for you, like every session I have ever done. And part of the way that I can do that is by selling you and letting you see what it's like when sales is done with zero negative, unethical manipulation, just absolute truth and authenticity. And this conversation, what I'm doing right now, part of the reason I felt to start with this is At the root of level 5, at the root of finding yourself living as a human being, when actually you are infinite, unlimited being, we are in utter disparity, living these limited, squash, little fucked up, confused, lonely, goddamn, addicted, miserable lives. When in fact, we are the universe, and everything we could ever want and desire and everything is always infinitely available now, all the time. Why? Why? That quote I gave last week. The fruits of the life and all the pains and all the difficulties in the universe is simply the difference between how nature and the universe works and how humans think. And now if I take it down to its simplest essence, aloha Ramla. If I take it down to its simplest essence, here's what it is. It's not okay for me to be. It's not okay for me to be me. It's not okay for me to be me wanting what I want. It's not okay for me to be me wanting what I want and fuck, for God's sake, expressing or asking for what I want. And the only thing worse than that is being me wanting what I want, expressing and asking for what I want, and getting what I want. That's the only thing worse, because I know the punishment, the pain that comes, and then So the only way that I have found, really, most people deal with addressing with this issue with the world of it's not okay to be, it's not okay to be me, it's not okay to want what I want, it's not okay for me to ask for what I want. You got it? I just came up with that on the fly, so I had to do it. I hope you guys enjoyed it. So why is that? Well, look back at every word you've ever heard me say in my book and in the audios and the videos and Conscious Coffee Breaks and every program you've ever been involved with me and everything I've said on every session up until now. Boil it down to the bottom line. You are the infinite, unlimited source of it all, and you are this incredibly limited little thing. And the difference is what you think, and what you think is guided by your programming. If we were to instantaneously release all programming, everything we think and believe that we know, which is hidden from us, by us, bound up with emotions we don't want to feel, if we were to let go of all of that and everything became explicit instantaneously, we would be God again. And that is here right now. You are. But you find yourself so entangled and so encumbered in all the programming, which leads down, it's a slight oversimplification, but not much, to not okay to be. How much evidence do you have from early childhood and since that it's not okay to be? Oh, and how much do you have that it's not okay to be me? How much do you have that is not okay to want while you're being me? And it's even worse to fucking ask for or express what you want. And God damn it, I don't even get to get what I want. Because then somebody's going to want to take it from me. Somebody's going to want to punish me for it. Somebody's going to control what I can do with it after I get it. They're going to tax it. Oh, fuck! So you don't even know how much of the time, so breathe deep, Nazi, breathe deep. So how much of the time do you not even dare to think about what you might fucking want? How much of the time do you say, you know, what do you do, Ryan, if you don't know what you want? How many of you have asked me that question in one way or another, y'all? What do you do if you don't know what you really want? Oh, is there any possibility that I'm not knowing what I want because that's the safest way for me to prevent wanting it? And then I don't have to worry about none of that shit after the third one. I'm still stuck here being, and I'm still stuck being me, but as long as I'm not wanting anything or asking for anything, I don't have to deal with any of that pain. Of course, I don't get anything I want. So the key really becomes, what would an infinite, unlimited being do that was in a body as a human? I'm going to propose what they would do. They would authentically be while asking for what they want without making assumptions. 100% the four agreements, 100%. Living level 5 absolutely includes the 4 agreements. It absolutely includes everything Eckhart Tolle talks about, presence and being centered and in the present moment and here now and not lost in thought in the little me and all that other shit, right? And you would admit, some of you remember what the word admit really means. You would admit your infinite selfishness as well as your infinite selflessness. You'd quit trying to hide your selfishness to protect your feelings. Because nothing makes you stand out as more of a fraudulent, selfish motherfucker than always trying to be selfless. So I would like to model that for you. I always do. And I can very explicitly do it, very specifically, very explicitly with this crazy idea that I have of coming on. Fuck, I'm just going to tell them now. So check this out. I'm gonna do this not in a salesy way. And I'm not going to do it according to any of the principles of effective sales. Because I find that actually works the best. To not use any of those principles of sales or any sales techniques. None of that's necessary. You know how to communicate from your heart and admit your selfishness and selflessness while being totally selfish and totally selfless, you will just, quote, succeed. You'll be beyond success. So check this out. Anybody who doesn't want what I'm about to tell you the next program will be, I don't want them to join it. That helps, doesn't it? See, when you're a manipulative salesperson, when you know it's not okay for you to want what you want, you're already so tangled up that you don't really even have the space to think, wait, who is this for? Who is it not for? Like, I wouldn't want anybody who doesn't want what I'm offering, I wouldn't want them to buy it. But Brian, you'd get more money that way. Do you know what would come with that money? However, those of you who, as I tell you what's going to happen in the next program, those of you who want it, don't you dare give yourself any fucking bullshit about what you can afford. Don't listen to your mind about, well, I don't know. I mean, it was great, but I don't know. I didn't get everything I wanted. It's probably his fault, not mine. Karen says, already the best session. It ought to be. Because I'm literally, every session, I'm wanting to meld every word I've ever said before for you and go beyond it. Every single session. That's literally where my heart is. So that's where my mind is. To be. So let's all set the intention right now. Everybody who's willing, let's set the intention right now. I am observing and noticing Brian, of all people, modeling how to sell. In other words, how to go for everything he wants while still being totally selfless and acting in the benefit of everybody else. Just feel that intention. You don't need to remember every word I just said. You got it. I'm watching this guy, and he's shamelessly, flagrantly doing it during our session when he's supposed to be helping us because it's the best way he can help us. It's just this consistency. You dig? Those that feel any trace of resistance, or you want to feel that and breathe and get through it. Those of you that are thinking, well, I spent my last $1 yesterday at the dollar store, I'm probably not going to be joining the next program. Just when you're thinking that, you disqualify yourself from what you want. Why don't you say there's more where that came from? Because it's always true. With money, one of the most valuable, beneficial, loving things you can ever do for yourself is think about the last $1 and go, well, there's more where this came from. Like, fuck, this one came from somewhere. Why would I not think the next dollar is going to come from somewhere? What the fuck? Okay. I'm going to get this part out of the way. I am going to do one more time. And this might really, really, really be the last time for many reasons. This might be the last time that I do the pay what you can. This might be the last time. So I'm gonna violate every fucking sales rule there is. I'm just gonna do this completely backwards. For the next program, it's gonna be pay what you can. It's gonna be an orientation session and 12 weeks, just like this one. The course is $2,000. For those of you who can swing $2,000, don't fucking PayPal me $200. Don't you do it just because it's pay what you can. You only fuck yourself. I'm challenging and inviting you to be completely selfless and totally selfish. Find what it's like to be both, purely and completely. One doesn't have to suffer for the other one to prosper. In fact, they can only both prosper. Otherwise, you're in a compromise. All right? So it's going to be the same thing. This pay what you can. Here's what it boils down to. You pay what you can pay. That is if you want what I'm about to tell you, then you do this. If you don't want it, please don't join us. You pay what you can. That is an honest to goodness stretch for you. If you're not paying the full amount, pay what's enough that you're like, fuck, I feel this. Okay? This is important to me. I'm going to show up on every session. I'm going to be there on time. I'm going to watch the replays. If Brian comes to us with a little bit more homework or home play, I'm going to do it every single time because I made this investment and this matters to me. Okay? And if you can swing the full amount, don't you dare cheat yourself because you can't cheat me. You can't take advantage of me. It doesn't exist. But you can screw yourself again. I have had a couple of people, and you know who you are, that have joined my programs in the past, partially with my help, and they have not come through 100% the way they could have on honoring what I've done for them. And I don't care, and I don't judge them, and I'm not going to hold it against them. I know how I used to live. I just tell you, if I've done more for you than you've paid me for when you could have, if you look back and you say, man, this motherfucker was generous from the start, and he hasn't stopped being generous, you're the one suffering for it, not me. I consider it wise to always be in a contest to outgive everybody else who's given to you. You hear that? Do you really hear it? Watch what happens in your life, in your emotions, in how well you sleep, and in your bank account, and in the effortlessness of your life when you get into a competition to outgive those who are given to you. And I've also had a couple people, and you know who you are, that have joined one of my pay what you can programs for a fraction. And then when the program was over and done, came back and paid more than the $2,000. And that is a part of my experiment here, watching what happens when I do this. Do you guys think that I have to do pay what you can when I offer a program? I promise I don't. Ain't nobody standing twisting my arm behind my back or anything else. Okay, so with that out of the way, keep breathing. If this ain't for you, I don't want you to sign up. If you're curious, I want you to hear me. I want you to really hear me, because there's a risk now of me really sounding salesy. The only thing is, I won't be sounding salesy. That's just your bullshit. Because you watch mom and dad get cornered by that fucking rainbow salesman. In Ultimate Fighting and in vacuum cleaner sales, they have a phrase. It's called ground and pound. When you get that fucker down, the fight ain't over. You just pound until they fucking give. It's in sales, but it ain't necessary. It ain't conscious. It ain't beneficial to anybody. That what they don't seem to realize is that those sales they make after that, the next day they always get a cancellation. One more thing before I go into the details. Check this out. I literally would bet money at this point in my life. I would bet money that I have the lowest refund rate in the history of self-help and personal development. I would bet. I did have one person, the last program that I did, I had someone that joined and they paid $15. $15 on a $2,000 program. And about 6 weeks in, after not showing up for one live, they said, yeah, I'm not getting anything out of this. Could I get my $15 back? It was the first refund request I've ever flatly fucking refused. I said, bitch, you are out of your fucking mind. You can't be on 5 minutes of any session and not get your $15 worth. So no, I would be screwing you over bad if I gave you that $15 back. Sorry. Well, I'll report you. You fucking do whatever you want. Have a good time. I probably shouldn't have said that, so I did. Let me say it again. I will. So now here's the deal. Here's why I would recommend those of you who feel that you want to. Here's why I would recommend that you join this next program. Something has happened for me in the last 3 or 4 days that I was joking about this on the little group session. Carol, Rich, Kate, and who was on there with us? Carol. John wasn't there today. What was up with that, John? We'll have to talk about that. You tardy. You missed a class, buddy. That's a black mark. First one. 3 year out. Just kidding. I was joking about how, if someone says they had the biggest breakthrough of their life, and it was someone who lives on the couch watching TV 10 hours a day, their biggest change in their life might be that they switch from Lay's to wavy Lay's. It's like, oh, this is quantum leaping my life to a whole nother transformational level. But for me to say the biggest quantum leap that I've ever had in my spiritual life over the last 3 days. What I see and what I understand and what I am going to be able to convey and what I'm going to be able to systematize and organize and deliver over just the fucking orientation session. Not just the 12 weeks that follow it. So I will challenge and invite and tease you for a minute right now. Seriously, absolutely seriously speaking. I want to encourage you to tap into your deepest self. Don't worry about doing it right. Just breathe deep and realize that you can experience and you can sense anything you want. And just choose playfully to tap in and see if you can see anything different on my face today, or if you can hear anything different in my voice, or if you're noticing anything different in how I'm speaking or anything. Just tease yourself for the rest of the session to see. Maybe you already have. Some of you have. Because I have moved more on my inside levels. I've moved more in the last 3 days than I have at least in the last 3 to 5 years. And that's knowing that I'm always on the nose of the rocket going at the speed of light into transformation, dropping what isn't me. Okay. And it's not going to slow down over the next several days. It's going to accelerate. Next week, I will not have a session. I'm not going to start it next week. Here's what's going to happen. So some of you know that I have had a couple business partners that have joined me that are by far the most competent, talented, sane, happy, loving, enthusiastic. I mean, there's so many superlatives that I could put in. Donna and Simone are fucking amazing. They love me. They love Level 5, and they have been doing big business on the internet for a long time. The network they have, the connections they have, let alone the skills and talents and knowledge and expertise that they have. This thing is about to go. And Donna is going to be taking something of a vacation next week, which means that I am going to devote this weekend. I get my kids when the kids leave on Sunday night. From Sunday night until it's going to be 9 or 10 days, I am going to be quantum leaping on top of my quantum leaps with what has happened over the last few days for me. The next time you guys see me, you are not going to recognize me, especially with those jalapeno infused pickles that I mentioned at the beginning. I can't believe I even remembered that shit. How did that? So I'm telling you, you can just mark my words. You will, and you know, some of you could just be assholes and go, well, why the fuck did we join you for this program? Why didn't we wait and join you for that program when you're going to be all better? Hey, this program did not suck. Okay, so don't even go there. Smart ass. Don't be surprised if you get more off of the orientation session of the next program than you got out of this course. And that's partially because of what I've said. It is partially because the you that is going to be on that orientation session is the you that just went through this fucking course. You ain't the you that you were a few months ago. Some of you admit it, right, Rosemary? You ain't the you that were. And those of you that are clinging to how much you are the way you were instead of choosing to focus how you're not the way you were, that's your pattern, baby. Maybe time to breathe a little bit deeper and start to take me seriously on noticing what has changed. Every time you focus on what hasn't, you perpetuate it. Every time you focus on and notice what has changed, you expand it. Merry Christmas on that one. So what I'm going to be doing in this next program is going to be, I almost need to change the company name to Level 6, but I'm not, because Level 5 is still infinite, unlimited. It's just that I'm going to be able to help you go a hell of a lot further, a hell of a lot faster with some more systematized or systemized, if you prefer, tools, a little bit more structure, and some clarity about comprehending how to move from where you are into what you want more reliably, more consistently, more rapidly, in ways that are self-perpetuating, because that's what I'm diving into myself. All right. We will do a little bit of that today. In fact, I have been since I started talking about the pickle ear replacement. That's what I've been doing, just sneakily, subtly behind the scenes. Some of you can feel it. Ooh, some kind of something going on. So let's. I think that's clear, right? Pretty clear. How did you like my sales pitch? There was a lot of pressure. Do you think you could do that? If you let people know what you got and you help them to see how it might relate to what they want, and then you're okay with them choosing whether it's for them or not, and you don't have to sway them, that's pure sales, babe. You don't need none of that bullshit. But everyone won't say, yeah, you got that right. All the assholes you didn't want in your program, they won't buy because you didn't lure them by being an asshole. Dev just humors me, I swear. Now let me fuck with you for a minute. Some of you thought, well, if he's not having a class next week, I could just wait and buy it in 2 weeks. I don't have to do nothing. So let me really fuck with you for a minute here. Here's the pressure. If you don't buy it today, you'll never get a joint. I'm just kidding. My experience has shown me something really weird. And I have just finally accepted and embraced it. And it is, I'm proposing this is truth with a capital T. Sometimes people will have the money available to hire me to come out for the 4 days, or to have me come spend a few days with them, or to, join a program or whatever. They have the money and they've been thinking about it, but they kind of have that, I'm going to hold on to this because, and then they have a whole bunch of becauses. You know what I mean? I dig that, Karen. I've seen something again and again and again and again, and this is universally true. You got to decide what that means to you, because I don't want to convince you. When someone is talking about coming out for the 4 days with me, and whether they meet me on the phone and they say, okay, fuck it, I'm doing it. Where do I send the first money? where do I send the deposit right now? Whether they do that, or whether they're one who waits for 6 months or 2 years or whatever, the day that they make the deposit, the changes that they wanted in their life start happening right that fucking minute. Now, right when I said that, two of the more recent people that I've done days with, one that came out to Hawaii, Linda, they both just instantly started going, yep. It literally, when it's the commitment, it's actually the decision, I'm doing this, here's my fucking money. Now, I am sure that there could be some things that someone could sign up for that instead of money, maybe they cut their wrists and they, put an ounce of blood on paper. It's a blood contract. I guess that could be, it don't have to be money. But the way that we've set the universe up to where money is the symbol of what it is, it's when the person fucking steps up and quits pinching onto that money, thinking that it's making them safe to hold it. When they release it, they release what they were holding with it. Safety and protection guarantees threats and danger. Saving for a rainy day guarantees the clouds will come. Every time. You're the one infinite, unlimited being behind it all. Let that shit in and quit being surprised. And so, those of you who are like, you know what? I already know I'm doing it. I dare you to don't wait till the last day to sign up. And those of you who literally, you look at your account right now and there's 12 fucking cents in it, or francs, or whatever the fuck where you live. I don't know how that shit works. Whatever is in that account, you go, oh, I could pay that. That's fine. If you got to wait till tomorrow or the next day or later. The thing is, you get what I'm saying about this stretch thing? The stretch thing is the thing. And the stretch thing is a part of why I'm willing to do something this fucking crazy. Do you know, because I don't, I'm not saying no one's ever done it before, but do you know anybody else doing this? Pay what you can, period. And I'm not going to say nothing about you pay $1. Okay, fine. If you got a fucking dollar and you're not bullshitting yourself, you can be in the program. I don't know anybody else doing it. And the only risk is that people often allow themselves to get the value out that they paid in, which is why I'm so forceful about make it a stretch or don't fucking do it. If you've been thinking about Hawaii and you got the money to do it, all I can ask you is, what the fuck are you waiting for? If you've been thinking about one-on-ones and you've been sitting on, well, what the fuck are you waiting for? If it's not for you, for God's sake, don't do it. I don't want you to, please don't pay me and come and sit on the floor with me for 4 days and we look at each other like, why the fuck are we here? I don't want you to do this. Don't come. But otherwise, and why don't you let the money in? Well, Brian, I'm trying. That means nope, that trying doesn't work. Trying guarantees it won't happen. But I'll tell you what works. Breathing and choosing presence and then choosing it again and then choosing it again and then consistently choosing it and then noticing what you've been beating yourself up about and beginning to love that part of yourself. Right, Carol? Begin to notice the things that you're sure are bad and begin to love that part of yourself. You can't change what you're fighting when it's you. Who's got a hand left to help when one hand is holding the sword against the other and they're both you? You got to admit this sooner or later. You're going to have to admit it sooner or later. Sooner or later, if you don't have the money you want, you're the one keeping it away. Sooner or later. And you're not going to solve it by being pissed off about it, and you're not going to solve it by trying to figure it out. You're going to solve it by loving yourself and breathing and becoming present so that you can see what you were doing behind your own damn back. I'm really grateful to see some of you who have, this lesson's been a long time coming. You've heard me talk about this 30, 40, 50 times. You're like, wait, I'm starting to hear this. That makes sense. Why didn't he tell me that the last 42 times he told me? All right. So, I mean, we just had the best session ever. Let's have a little bit of a session though. Okay. I already know one thing that I want to talk about and help with. Let's just do this though. Anybody, let me check in for a minute. I'm going to go out way out on a limb. I'm scared, just so you know. Thank you, Nazi. I'm going to go way out on a limb. And I'm going to invite Christine to come on. We haven't communicated since last session. Can I unmute you? Go ahead and fart now. Yeah. Get it out before because we don't want to hear that. All right. Okay. It's not. There you go. How you doing, Christine?
Yeah, I've had a weird week. It's been really up and down and up and down.
So tell me, that's a start right there. Tell me, if you will, tell us. That was a rather epic spell break.
Yeah.
Last week. That was far-reaching, multi-dimensional, deep diving, very emotionally charged stuff. And if you weren't disoriented for a few days, something would be really weird about that if you weren't disoriented. So tell me about what you're noticing that's different, if you will. And guys, for this one time, I'm actually not going to pounce, even lovingly pounce upon her words. I'm going to let her speak this out for a minute. So don't be like, well, when I said that, he jumped on me with the 4 words. All right. What you got, Christine?
Yeah. Yeah, things have. I have been much more aware of my a lot of the things that have been going on with me, and a lot of more things have come up similarly to what we worked on this week. Um, and I've been quite happy, and I've also been kind of quite the opposite. Um, and I've just been letting things go the way they wanted to go and see what happened and try to be present with it.
Okay.
Um,
Any more? Any more want to come out?
um, there was some, I realized a lot more about the people pleasing and how I was so afraid of upsetting people, including my children, that I'd got myself in a real corner and trapped myself in this situation. That's crazy. And I really haven't had my own back. And the thing about the shoulder, it was also kind of like my back as well. Like there's always someone on my back. And I realized that I haven't had my own back at all. Like I've not looked after myself. I've not been on my own side. I've just been desperately people pleasing to try and be safe. And that just came up really strongly this week.
Okay, beautiful. And have you found yourself being any less people pleasing since that session?
I've noticed when I've done it a lot more. So I've been more present to it. And sometimes I've done it and then I've seen it afterwards.
Beautiful. Okay, so let me give you a word of encouragement, a reminder for everybody. So the Brian Ridgway method for changing a habit, um, I don't know if it works. Well, here's what I've noticed. I was kind of teasing. It's not really a method. It's the process that I've noticed. Whenever when we're when we got stuff that we don't know, but it's what we think and believe that we know, but we don't know, and it's hidden from us by us in the unconscious, and it's wrapped up in emotions that we don't want to feel, and all this shit. We're the world class, unbelievable ninja gods and goddesses of pretending we don't see everything. Like the fucking effort that we put into not seeing is beyond any of our wildest fucking dreams. I'm telling you, if you just knew, like when you think, why don't I have that much energy and clarity to create what I want? Because you're using it all to not see everything you've already fucking made because you judge it and you fear it and you blah, 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 blah. That was kind of clarifying right there, wasn't it? Lots of nods and lots of damn, why didn't you tell us that before? I've been telling you. You're just hearing better. So what often happens when we finally move some of that stuff, we start to wake up a little bit like, what the fuck is it? Wait, I was the okay. We'll go from being in it, convinced it's happening to us. Everything tells us it's happening to us. We all of a sudden go, wait, I was actually doing that shit. Then we'll notice ourselves, if we choose to continue it, if we choose to wake up, if we choose to expand, if we choose to breathe and stay present at all, this automatically happens. You'll begin to notice yourself doing it and be like, fuck, like you just said, like, fuck, that's me. Wait, why am I still doing it? Then you'll begin to notice yourself having just done it sometimes. You'll notice yourself doing it sometimes, and you'll notice yourself kind of starting to do it, and you'll realize, wait, I can actually choose. All the time before, I was in it, just swept along in the tide of the emotions and the thought. But now, see, you're nodding. Now, what's going to happen next? Here's great news. What's going to happen next is you're going to actually notice yourself starting to do it. And then you're going to notice yourself in moments where the opportunity exists and you haven't quite started, and you're going to go, I got this shit. I got this shit. I don't have to do it. So I would like to help you accelerate that right now. Is that okay? All right. I'm going to ask you a really serious question and a couple serious questions, and everybody, you know who I'm asking. When you please those people, it's a yes or no question. Are you absolutely positive beyond the shadow of a doubt that by doing what they want, that you're actually benefiting them? Yes or no?
No, no.
All right. And when you feel that, is there any possibility that by continuing to do it, you're actually doing them ultimately a disservice?
Yeah, I've seen that. I've
Okay.
seen that.
Is there any possibility that every time you go into people pleasing, you have done yourself some degree of disservice?
Yeah.
Okay, so here's an image for you. Imagine that somebody's trying to guilt trip you. And if they were, the only reason anyone, by the way, all you motherfuckers that want to blame people for guilt tripping, the only reason anybody would ever try to guilt trip you is if you had a guilt trip me sign on your ass. Those of you who've been with me for a little while, you're starting to get it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're broadcasting fucking take advantage of me, use me, guilt trip me, or they wouldn't do it. So they're doing you a favor, is the irony of this. Now, check this out. When you do it to try to prevent them from hitting bottom, you know, they would be sad. In fact, you can see it on their face. They know how to come to you with the, you don't have to, but could you? They know how to play the martyr. They know how to play all the game that perfectly mirrors your martyrdom. All the passive aggressive, all the stuff that psychologists would label with all these diagnoses. Fucking psychologist. Carol's not on, is she? Oh, shit. You know, all the stuff, all the psychological stuff, all the diagnoses, all the psychiatric stuff, all the stuff that people, narcissists and empaths and bears, oh my, all that fucking bullshit. But fact of the matter is, there's only one common denominator in every one of those interactions. Have you ever noticed it? It's called Christine, at least in its human form. So check this out. When you do that to prevent them from feeling sad, and you told yourself that you were doing it for them, was that in fact beneficial for them? Yes or no?
No.
Is it
No. I
ever?
was doing it to feel better. I was
You
doing
were
it to make
doing it
me
to
feel
feel
better.
better yourself. You were doing it to feel better yourself, or
Yes.
to keep them in your life because you didn't want
Yeah.
to lose them. You
Yeah.
didn't want, but we tell ourselves all this bullshit, don't we? And we're good at it.
Yeah.
So for me, one of the
Please
things that,
like me.
huh?
So it's like, please like me.
Right. That's exactly right. Now feel what's behind that. Please like me. When you were little and you did something, and here you were in an abusive situation where there was a lot of unfairness, and sometimes on those rare occasions you would do something and daddy would say, that's my girl. On that rare moment of something like approval. And you said, I will do anything to keep getting that compared to what I was getting. And you never stopped and looked at it since. Until last week. Really. So when you admit this truth to yourself, up until this very moment, every single time that I ever did that ostentatiously, I just wanted to use that word, ostentatiously or ostensibly, to cushion them from their feelings, actually I was bullshitting myself. Because if I did prevent them from feeling their feelings, what more violating could I have ever done?
Mm.
It's not my place. That's right. Debbie says, ow. Well, listen, okay, if the key to life is to feel the feelings you've been avoiding so that you can move through them into presence, and you're living your life trying to prevent people from feeling the feelings that
Ow.
and guess what? Number one, you're fucking them over bad. But number two, when you admit that they're all you, you're fucking yourself over on both sides of the damn thing, and nobody actually gets an orgasm out of the deal. I'm looking at everybody who right now is going, oh fuck, I've been doing that. Whose feelings have you been really trying to protect? Don't make me look at that, Brian. I don't like that. So the great news is you can wake up from it and actually begin to be yourself, and you will be inspired to do only that which serves yourself and everybody else, which is your true self. In a way, we've all been just trying to get away from the next hit. Whatever I got to say, whatever I got to do to avoid the next hit or the next yell. And we never even look to realize, motherfucker ain't even standing there over my shoulder anymore. I am so glad that I felt to ask Christine about last week. Anybody? I am so glad. So, Christine, if you were to say one thing that is absolutely more the way that you prefer since last week, you look at your life before last week, look at your life since, if you said one thing that absolutely unquestionably for sure is more the way, I would be tempted to say better, but you know what I mean, something more the way I prefer since last week, what would it be?
I'm more likely to say no or have boundaries.
Okay, and what's the fruit of that?
And feel okay about it.
And feel okay about it.
Yeah.
So check it out. Would you agree that ultimately the answer is feeling better?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't know if you ever listening anytime I ever said this before, Christine. I kind of doubt it. But it's possible. And everybody knows who I'm talking to. The path to hell, the guaranteed way of suffering, is to look at where you are and look at where you wish you are, where you think you should be, where you wish you were, where you think you ought to be, where you could be. That's the guaranteed way of suffering. The guaranteed way straight back into heaven, the guaranteed way to peace and relief and lightness and awesomeness is to look at where you were and to note and pay attention to and delineate and describe and focus on and contemplate and reflect on how far you've come. So, over the next 10 days, just as to pick a number out of my ass, I think all the numbers in the world are actually in there, but I'm not going to go checking right now. It could be 10 days, it could be 100 days, it could be 1 day. Why are you guys thinking about numbers in my ass? You are some weird people. Stop that. Man, I mean, I just said it innocently, and you guys are like, ooh, numbers. I'm trying to focus. I'm trying to help Kara here. Stop. I mean, Christine. So, Christine, if you would say 10 days and you would, let's split off a clone of Christine right now. And here, Christine A goes this way, Christine B goes this way. Christine A just keeps doing exactly what she's been doing and notices a little bit and, oh, wait, I'm not. And Christine B keeps her journal nearby. And for the next 10 days, she wakes up in the morning and she looks at what she wrote. On Thursday, January the blank, I did this spellbreak with Brian on blank, dealt with the shoulder, da-da-da-da-da. I made all the notes when I watched the replay, so I had a clear picture. And since that moment, what has been different? And every morning when she wakes up and every night when she goes to bed, she does a couple things. She rereads it. She rereads the what's different. She reviews everything she's already written was different, and she adds in what was different today about it. What am I noticing different? What am I noticing different? Here's where I was, people pleasing, ass kissing, brown nosing, miserable, not living my life at all, just trying to make sure everybody else was okay so that I could just get by another fucking day until I finally have my miserable motherfucking death. But what's different today? And then I look at what was different yesterday and what was different today. And then next day I look at what was different that day, this day, and then so 10 days in, I got 10 days worth of reviewing my notes. When I wake up in the morning, when I go to sleep at night, what's different? Look, how was it? How was it all the way in my life up until that spell break? And how's it been different for the last 10 days? I will give you a promise that Christine A will have some pretty amazing results. Christine B will be soaring through the motherfucking clouds. You dig?
Yeah.
Do you see any possibility or even probability in what I'm saying being true? Is this starting to connect it all? It's when you look at where you were. And now watch this. Here's the funnest part of all. I'm going to prove, I've been saying this for quite a while. I've never really proved it because it's so self-evident. I'm going to prove it this time. Imagine that on that day, instead of doing a spell break, all we did was I sat and questioned you about how fucking shitty your life was, what it's like being miserable, kissing everybody's ass, having to have baby wipes around to wipe your nose every 4 hours because of the last person whose ass you kissed, and how miserable and how fucked up. And we talked about how your life could have been, should have been, you wish it was. And then you let 10 days pass, what that's going to be like. Now look at what life can be like in 10 days. If you will continue to focus on what changed and what's different today, and what's different today, what's different today, you will be able to look and see a curve of difference, and you'll be conscious of it. You'll be aware because you've been mapping it. You see? It puts your attention on the awesomeness expanding, which is not where your attention has been for the last several decades at all. Okay. All right. Anything else?
That's great. I'll do that. I'm looking forward to it.
Yay. Report back to me. Love you, girl.
Yeah.
I see a couple people smiling that I don't always see smiling. And being the selfish, narcissistic motherfucker that I am choosing to take full credit for it. Anybody got any questions or want any help with anything? I'm a little scared to ask. Andrea, that was the fastest hand in the East. What you got, girl?
How about that? I'm being selfish and I am just going for it.
Good. Nobody else did. Let them be pissed off.
Exactly.
They can even sit there and say, God, fucking Andrea again, but they didn't raise their hands.
Exactly. That's why I get my results that I get. So
thank you.
Anyways, this last session really resonated with me. I listened to it again today during the day. Just the gold nuggets about the breathing, and even though I thought I was breathing and breathing all the time, by listening to you, I was able to dive in and realize in how many ways I had not been breathing correctly up until then. And I felt relief just from that, realizing that, and I was able to move through my day extremely nonchalantly, let me say, even though I could have perceived in the past that there was a lot of stress surrounding me or stressful situations that came up for attention. So that was a true change right there. When Christine was talking about the person, her dad on her shoulder, I thought immediately, well, I feel, so what's really holding me back? Well, I feel that somebody has control over me. Somebody is controlling me. And I am, maybe up until now, I felt I was unable to get out from under that. Or what would happen if I got out from under that? So looking out from underneath a stone and thinking, oh my God, it's scary out there, something like that. And then the last bit of this is that when you said check in with yourselves and say, if I started breathing as much as I could, I'm afraid that X would happen. And immediately I said to myself, well, I would be afraid that I would be taking up too much space. And then that I was directing that back into me having been in my mother's womb and my mom trying to conceal the pregnancy. And I probably did feel I didn't have enough space to move around, or maybe not even to breathe. Boom.
Bang!
That's it right there.
Wow. So let me touch a little bit of this. Many of us, I've alluded to this and touched on it a couple times. Many of us, more than we would ever think, have had attempts on our lives when we were in the womb. You know, I've had experiences where people tell me about their childhood and what a horrific, unbelievable nightmare it is and how terrible. And like literally later on, they start to wake up and they realize it wasn't near as fucking bad as they thought. It was nowhere near, there wasn't near as much. The violence wasn't near as frequent as they thought. They had this picture of just constant chronic darkness, but it actually was nowhere. And they didn't know that until they woke up, because that they were accentuating in their imagination, right? And I've seen a few people who tried to tell me, my childhood, it was just love and rainbows, and my parents were so unconditionally loving. I think I was very, and then they find out, like, man, I was repressing some shit. Okay. Well, I don't know what might be more repressible than having your dad push your mom down the motherfucking stairs when she's pregnant. Oops. Or that accidental elbow right at the pregnancy level. Or mom getting to the end of her rope with that uncaring, insensitive asshole. I'm not going to have a kid with this motherfucker. So she goes in the bathroom poking the coat hanger around in there, whether it poked you in a critical place or not. You don't know that you were reading her mind and emotions the entire time? That she was saying, I got to get rid of this little motherfucker? And you knew that you weren't wanted? And if you think about all the times in your life that you ever felt not wanted, all the times in your life you ever felt not wanted, I would propose there was only one time you ever felt not wanted. And you've been feeling that one time every time it arose, but it was one. And here's the irony. A couple people that I worked with when we had the event in Florida, and I did a bunch of one-on-ones, a couple of different people had mom didn't want me. Deep, mom didn't want me. And as I just looked at that from level 5, which I have a tendency to do, I don't know if you guys have noticed or not, I asked a really profound question, because I'm really fucking smart like that. You want to hear the question? Say yes, so that I can feel even smarter and better when I tell you the question. It might help you, by the way. When you were in the womb, did that crazy bitch even know who the fuck you are? I'm not being harsh. I'm playing harsh to do something. Did that crazy bitch even have a clue who you are? Then is there any possibility that she didn't want you? Do you get the question? Do you hear me? Is there any way in the fucking world that she didn't want you? It doesn't even make any sense. She didn't know who the fuck you are. She didn't want the set of difficulties that she was sure you represented. It had nothing to do with you. Don't be so damn special. And when Dad pushed you away, leave me the fuck alone. Can't you see I'm reading the paper? Get the fuck out of here. And you, in all of your special glory, said, I'm not important. I don't matter to Daddy. Daddy doesn't love me. He didn't know you were there. He hadn't had sex for 4 days because he was an asshole to your mom. And she was being a bitch to him because she was trying to please everybody. And they both had just a couple days before been cornered by the motherfucking vacuum cleaner salesman. And they were ashamed and embarrassed that they couldn't afford the motherfucking vacuum cleaner. So instead, they criticized the salesperson, and you've been hating sales ever since. And that's the end of the session, motherfuckers. Damn, that's some good shit right there. Man, I just pat myself on the back. Dev, you pat me back on the back later. Damn. That's some good shit right there, man. And you thought I don't matter. I'm not lovable. I don't count. They don't want me. Sorry, babe, you ain't that special. Had nothing to do with you. But your feelings do matter. In fact, they've been turning into all the matter of your life ever fucking since. They just keep mattering and mattering and mattering and mattering and mattering until you feel them and get to the other side of them. I'm still trying to figure out how I set up that shit with the vacuum cleaner sales. I'm when I get that, man, I'm telling you, I'm gonna write a book about how to do that shit. The circle always comes closed before the end of the session, doesn't it? That's some. You guys trip on that as much as I do. I got a couple people that say, "How the fuck do you do that circular shit?" I don't know. It's like it's everything all is one or something. I thought I felt you. What's up, baby? Come here. No. Come. Don't do that. Come here. Say hey to everybody. I know.
Hi.
Ain't she sweet? Is she just the sweetest little sweetie ever? Except for when she eats poops and try to lick my mouth. I don't go for that one too much. She gets Dev, but not me on that one, actually. Mm. Mm. Wow, I was looking at least one person just thought, okay, I wasn't going to go to Hawaii and do those days with Brian, but if that dog's there, I'm going to go do it. Just to see the dog. Anything else, Andrea?
That was very helpful. Thank you.
Welcome. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
What you got, Rich?
I've been, up until now, I had been noticing some, what I would call procrastination in my life, in doing the things that I know would help me most, or I believe would help me most in life. Up until now, I know breathing is the key, and as you said, it's not everything. You see something, knowing me as well as you do, living with me for 3 weeks, spending this much time with me as you have. And you see some key things that you might recommend to me.
I have one that's just like that. Even as you were finishing the question, do what you fucking want to do. Quit worrying about whether it's the right thing to do. Quit worrying about whether it's the safe thing to do. You and I had to talk about this several days ago. Okay. Listen, the mind can hear this as some kind of a frivolous or like foolhardy, rushing in. That's not what I'm advocating at all. I said this a little bit ago, and I'm this is a little bit. There's ways that you can even take this, Rich, and I'm not going to let myself be concerned. I'm just going to acknowledge there's ways that you can take this, and everybody else, there's ways that you can take this. And that's okay. Do what you got to do. There are things that you want to do, and you sometimes worry about what other people are going to think about them. You sometimes worry about how you fucked up in the past, but that's only because you believe that you fucked up in the past, and other people were around to agree with you that you had fucked up. So you're trying to make sure that doesn't happen again. And then you don't do, sometimes you haven't done what you really want to do because you're protecting yourself from that. But does that protection create what you actually want?
No.
It puts you in a holding pattern. So Christine was in a holding pattern since she was 3 years old. The first time she did something that caused a significant adult in her life that was generally ignoring her and generally not caring that much, she did something, and maybe she shared her toy with some other kid. She maybe wanted to, maybe she didn't. But someone said, "Oh, that's my good girl." And she went, "Oh." So they just ignore me all the other time. I don't get the unconditional love I want. I don't get the kindness and the caring. And they don't show me that I'm important. But wait, I fucking gave up something, or it looked like I gave up something. And they said, "That's my good girl." I will do that for the rest of my motherfucking life, no matter what it takes. Right, Christine? She's like, "This motherfucker does watch us through our webcams. How did he know I've been doing that shit all my life?" Okay, so, and she ain't the only one. And so, Rich, so you have been trying to avoid getting punished for making the wrong choice again, to such a great extent. It's easy to call that procrastination, which doesn't look at the mechanisms behind it. But if you look at the mechanisms behind, listen, I'm not telling you to go do nothing stupid. I'm basically saying there's nothing that you're going to do that's going to cause you to get punished unless you believe that you will. And if you will relax more and tune into your feelings, which are always the accurate answer. Your true feelings are always the accurate answer. So let me go a little bit deeper with this. I don't know how many minutes. I do know for sure that this is how I'm going to end this session. I kind of knew it before I started. And it's what I really focused on the group session right before this. Okay. So picture this. You are infinite, unlimited being. John, you by now, you don't always believe it, but you know it's true. You are infinite, unlimited. You wouldn't stay through this whole fucking program with me, you guys, I know I'm funny and all, but you wouldn't stay through the whole program if you weren't accepting on some level that you actually are the source and that you're identified with it. You know you're it. It's part of you. You're part of it. Okay. However, you're also one stupid psychopathic fuck up. Okay, I'm talking to everybody. You do some dumb fucking, I mean, you kiss ass, you brown nose, you lie, you cheat, you steal, you manipulate, you trick, you avoid, you procrastinate, you don't do what you most want to do, then you blame other motherfuckers. I mean, goddamn, kill yourself and get it over with. Cause look at the fuck up you are. Okay, but wait, those are both true. You know what I mean, Rich? Those are both true. So if you were to look and admit, well, I'm infinite, unlimited being, and I'm this total fucktard, how's that work? And then if you look at your average daily functioning, you're a little bit of both.
Yeah.
You're somewhere. So if the top of the screen right here is infinite, unlimited being, and this is the total fucktard that you are, in a way that you could say you go through your life doing this. Some days you're just, woof, goddamn. Ah. Other days you have, oh, I am flying with the synchronicity right now. Everything is just, and my crystals are aligning. And then you do something stupid. And, So in a way, you could say that you're doing this. So if you think about it for just a moment, anybody that wants to notice, you already feel a little smidgen of relief after what I just fucking said. Like, oh, wait, that actually puts it into perspective. I am that and I'm this. So in a way, it's how much of this am I letting in? You get it? You hear me? Then this is your tease that I told you were going to get about this next program that I'm going to do. In a way, the whole entirety of the next program that I do is going to be, how do I come more and more from here and less from here without trying to get rid of this? Now, that is what I've been doing all along. It's just that this is clearer, it's sharper, it's more defined. It's going to be so much more reliably trackable and duplicatable and systematized, and you're going to feel way more confident and clear as we do it. So I'm giving you quite a chunk right here.
Yeah.
So, Rich, when you feel inspired to do something, you really do have the choice to breathe yourself into presence, feel your feelings and act, or to sit in doubt and worry about what Kate's going to think, or what somebody's mom's going to think, or what your neighbor's going to think. I mean, you know, you've had days in your life when you could have bought you got a couple cool cars. You could have bought a nicer, shinier, and then in part of you could literally think, yeah, but next door they're gonna look and be like, oh, he's a fucking asshole. And I'm not saying you necessarily think in that exact term, but you get the point. Okay.
I have.
Okay, well, that's just because I'm fucking magic. But anyway, those thoughts aren't the real you, and you can be sure of it. They're not the real you. And so the more you choose to breathe. Now, you said a moment ago, I always say that breath is the key. It is, but really presence is the key. Breath is the key to presence. Out of all the things that we could list, and listen, drinking plenty of good water, getting the highest nutrition you can, getting plenty of sleep, your posture, all are part of the key of presence. Breath just happens to be the obvious, biggest, most significant one. All right? A little clarity there that just happens to be a lot of clarity. So when you feel that there's something that you want and you start to do it and you feel yourself hesitating, you could literally right that moment, you could say, what am I afraid would happen? And grab your fucking journal right then. What am I afraid would happen? Go for it.
Actually, the thing I think of first is when I think of what do I want, up until now has been, okay, what do I have to do to get it? And that's what instantly went through my head when you even said when I think of what do I want to do was, okay, what do I have to do to get it?
Okay. So then that is a mechanism that you've set up inside of yourself to prevent you from going for it. If I could just distract myself with what's the price I'm going to have to pay. Okay. So what is one thing that you have really wanted in the last, I don't know, just like something that there's a reason why you're asking this. What is something you've wanted or wanted to act on that you could act on, but you haven't?
Building my house up north and moving up there to live my dream as a cannabis gardener.
Okay. To live my dream as a cannabis gardener. How are you going to feel living in that house on that land as a cannabis farmer? How are you going to feel?
Yeah, what does being a cannabis farmer cost me?
Well, that's where you're automatically going. But I'm saying, how are you going to feel? All right, so can you feel that feeling of what's it going to cost me?
Well, I realized I labeled myself cannabis gardener.
That is part of the issue.
Myself cannabis gardener cost me.
Okay, so check this out. What do you feel when you think being that cannabis gardener? What do you feel right when you just bring that up? What do you feel?
Happiness.
You feel happiness. Okay. So I would have to be a cannabis gardener to be happy.
No.
Okay. So take away the title of being a cannabis gardener and see yourself living in that house gardening cannabis. Have you ever in your life swept the floor, Rich?
Yes.
Oh, well then you're just a fucking floor sweeper.
Yeah, my first job.
Yeah, well why the hell am I even talking to you? You're just a floor sweeper. Do you get it? Okay, this isn't the core issue. However, it's the little things that fringe around the big thing that are all the big thing, because there's nothing big or little. All right. So identifying yourself as then I'll be a cannabis farmer. No, you'll be fucking rich living in that house growing cannabis.
Yeah.
So what's the price on that? What's it going to cost you?
Living up there as rich growing cannabis.
Right, which doesn't sound like a price.
Right.
Right. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to think, because we may or may not get through this right now, and this is a cycle that you've been running. So I want to share this. Like, this is obviously for everybody. Something I do in my daily life. When I find myself facing something, about to do something, whatever, and I get a feeling of, oh, I'm going to be in trouble for that. Or, oh, that's scary. Or, oh, I don't want to have it. Every time, man, 15 times a day, I will bring it right up right then while the feeling's up. And I'll say, let me see, what's the essence of this? This feeling that I'm going to be in trouble for this. I retrieve all of my energies bound up in this feeling that I'm going to be in trouble for this. I go through that process every fucking time as quickly as I possibly can. Sometimes I'm inspired to just feel the feeling and breathe. Okay, these are tools. These are tools. And Rich, what I'm going to recommend that you do, because what you're dealing with is a very situation specific thing. It's not something that's always there. It's the minute you start to think of something you want to do, right? Oh, let me ask you this. Could you imagine that suddenly, magically, all the money that you needed to go and build the house, like it's not that it takes money, because you could always have barter, you could always have gifts, you could always have, you don't even know. But let's just say, suddenly every dime that was going to be required to complete the house quickly and efficiently, to have the equipment and everything's tilled and everything's ready and blah, 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 blah. Everything's 100% done. All that money is in your hand. And you decided instead, we got the money to do this. We've been talking about this for a long time. I have an idea, Kate. Let's go to Hawaii. Let's hang out with Brian and Deb. Let's both do the 4 days with him. And then let's travel the island in a really cool high-ticket rental vehicle and sample all the cannabis across the island for a month. And let's spend all the money on that instead. All right. Would that leave you any less? Now, I want you to answer from your soul. Don't answer the right fucking answer here. I want you to feel the question and answer it, because the part of you that feels it is the truth. Would you be, are you absolutely positive, beyond the shadow of a doubt, you'd be further away from doing what you want if you did that?
No.
But you were so sure. You were so sure. I mean, you're so sure on so many levels. Kay was cringing, like, fuck, don't do that shit. You know, like, no. Okay, so would you or would you not be, if you were to take that money that you had just built up to go grow your garden and love you, John, and everything else, and you said, wait a minute, honey, let's go to Vegas for the weekend, high limit tables, and let's do double or nothing. And it ended up being nothing. The money was completely gone. Would you be less in a state of infinite possibilities than you are now? Yes or no?
No.
Okay, so when you let that all the way in, when I ask you those questions, believe it or not, shit is moving around inside of you. Galaxies are rearranging, and connections that were so certain are starting to come apart. You breathe deep enough, you drink enough water, and you think about it, reflect on it later, watch the replay. Every time you feel it, it'll happen more and more and more. And you can multiply that. You can absolutely multiply that, because you're not bound. The money is, there's more where that came from. You're only convinced that there isn't because of all the times you're sure that you fucked up. And everything in you is trying to prevent you from fucking up again. That's all there is to it. And you will have people around you, your kids, your girl, your friends, you will have people giving you all kind of advice, and they're absolutely as full of shit as you are.
Yeah.
Equally full of shit. We're all equally full of shit. The only advice that really, really, really matters is your deepest feelings. And those nudges that you get aren't necessarily your deepest feelings. It says underneath those are your deepest feelings. So if you'll notice those nudges and feel them and give them full attention. Wow, I thought that, I thought that, I thought that, I felt this, I felt that. Feel it, get to the other side of it. Clarity. The bottom line is that you can't really deny, when you're talking to me at least, there's no choice you're going to make that's going to take you out of infinite possibilities. I was sitting at the pool with 45, 46, 47, 48 bucks left. It was a few bucks more than the night at the hotel was going to cost. And then that was it. All my bridges were burned. All my bridges. I had no more connections. I had nowhere to turn for help. I had no way to borrow any money. It was done. I was screwed. I was fucked. And the next morning, I was going to be on the street in Van motherfucking Nuys with no money. And look at me now. Because I listened to my intuition, not those thoughts. And that's available to you. The only thing is, you don't have to necessarily put yourself in an absolute hopeless no-win situation to have the realization that I put myself in that situation to have that realization. It doesn't have to happen that way. It's always there. So the last piece of advice, suggestion, tip that I'm going to give you is, when you find yourself in the next hour, in the next day, and you're in a place of transition right now where you got plenty, it's going to be, this feeling is going to be around you for hours and days, and you're going to have the opportunity any moment you want to really feel, what is the essence of what I'm feeling here? Okay, I just noticed myself having that thought feeling again of, what's this going to cost me? I feel it. I retrieve all of my energies bound up in this thought and feeling of, what is it going to cost me? Got it? Go through the process.
Is it okay for us to go through that process real quick, you and I together?
If the feeling's up right now.
Yeah, well, as soon as you asked that question.
So think about what you want and feel that feeling. Feel that feeling of what's this going to cost me. It's a thought-feeling combination of, you can describe the physical sensation, just notice it. Notice the emotional sensation. There's the self-doubt. There's all these elements of, oh, what's this going to cost me? Punishment. Who's going to get me? Okay, so I retrieve all of my energies.
I retrieve all of my energies.
Bound up in this thought and feeling of.
Bound up in this thought and feeling of.
This has to cost me something.
This has to cost me something.
And I take all those energies back.
I take all of those energies back.
To the perfect place in my true abundant self.
The perfect place in my true abundant self.
You can already feel that space and that relief just beginning as the stuff moves and you breathe deep enough that it moves through every cell. We all have had variations of this. And while you're breathing, Rich, I'm just going to say this. You know, the circularity and the sphericalness of these sessions. I started with that whole thing and I was talking about not okay to be me, not okay to want what I want, not okay to express and ask for what I want, definitely not okay to get it. Well, a big part of yours has been, yeah, but if I do get it, what's it going to cost me? It's the same fucking thing over and over and over and over and over again.
And what's it going to cost me to get it?
Yeah.
What's it going to be when I get it? What's it going to cost me to?
Which presumes and knows that there's a cost.
Right.
Which we don't actually know. So that's okay. Somebody in there does, or sure they do. All right. So I remove all non-me energies.
I remove all non-me energies.
That might have ever taught me that there was a cost.
That might have ever taught me there was a cost.
Or related to the idea of what's this going to cost me.
Or related to the idea of what's going to cost me.
And I remove it from all my cells.
And I remove it from all of myself.
All my bodies in all dimensions.
And all of my bodies in all dimensions.
And from my personal space.
And from my personal space.
And I lovingly send it back to its origins.
And I lovingly send it back to its origins.
And just see that the idea of what's it going to cost me, it has to come with a price, everything comes with a cost, there's no free lunch, all of that shit is returning to infinite possibilities again. It'll ever be available, it just won't be necessary. We don't need it gone. We don't need anything gone. We just don't want it in our fucking soup. Or in our bank account. Or in our minds all the fucking time. It can be wherever it is. Yeah. Somebody might want it someday. Let them have it. And then be curious for a minute. How many things have you not acted on that you did want to act on that actually was a reaction to this feeling of it's got to cost me something? How many things have you done and then made sure that you, quote, fucked up in some magical way so that there would be a price so you could be right? How many times has your lovely little partner twisted the fucking knife in you about how you fucked up and, oh, look at the price, just because you thought it was her being a bitch, or and she thought it was her being a bitch sometimes. She thought, I don't know why I even did that. Because you fucking broadcasting 24/7, I'm the one for whom everything costs.
Oh my God. Jeebus Cruminy.
Say what?
I said Jeebus Cruminy.
Yeah, exactly. Uh-huh. So she didn't even want to say that shit. She was like, well, he needs me to. I just have to say this. I don't know. Oh, it's his fucking kick me sign. Show me how much.
I didn't want her saying it.
Yeah, show me how much it's going to cost me, or show me, or remind me that you're afraid of how much it's going to cost, because I wasn't thinking in that moment about how much it's going to cost. Would someone please reflect to me? Everything costs. That's then definitely.
No matter how much or she thinks it's going to cost.
That's right. That's right. But she can only reflect back to you. Listen, if she and I were having a conversation, it would never dawn on her in a million years to reflect that to me. Because I don't have that kick me sign. She would reflect my kick me signs. But to you, she's going to reflect that shit. And there's other people in your life that's going to do it too, from so many different angles, so you won't even recognize that's what they're doing. Because you are like turning all your mirrors. Don't notice that. All right. So, knowing that you might have had one or more reactions over the years to this feeling that everything comes with a price, how much is it going to cost? It's got to have a cost. Blah, 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 blah. I retrieve all of my energies.
I retrieve all of my energies.
Bound up in all my reactions.
Bound up in all of my reactions.
To this idea and feeling that everything has to come with a cost.
Bound in this idea and feeling that everything has to come with a cost.
And I take all those energies back to the perfect place in my true self.
I take all of those energies back to the perfect place in my true self. I choose peace in every cell of my body.
I could fuck up a million times and I would never have fucked up, because I'm still in a state of infinite possibilities. So watch this. I'm going to go a little bit further with this, because this literally is for everybody. So check this out. Check this out. Man, one of these days I'm going to write a book on this one. It's so powerful. When you fuck up, and you know, I'm just speaking totally level 3 for a minute here. When you fuck up, I mean, think about how many times you fuck up. For God's sake, how many times do I fuck? I fuck up this, I fuck up. Oh, fuck, I got to deal with what I fucked up. So as many times as we fuck up, what if fucking up is never the problem? It's what we think and do to ourselves about what we think about having fucked up. Now, I'm telling you, I ain't sat down with my pen and done my word crafty magic with this shit that I can do sometimes to really say this in the way that I see some of you are nodding and some of you are like, wait, that, oh, fuck, wait. But trust me, if I say it the way that I really see it, if I could just, you'd go, oh, fuck, for about 12 minutes. Because listen to what I'm saying. What if it isn't the 1 millisecond of fuck up? What if it's the next 13 seconds that you sit there telling yourself about how you fucked up and what it means and how you fucked up again? And you take, let's just say that if in the world of pain, there was a weight to pain, with emotional, physical, mental pain, it has a certain weight. And your fuck up comes with, because everything costs something, right, Rich? Your fuck up comes with a 1 ounce, which is really great terms for a cannabis farmer, a 1 ounce weight of pain. But your next 12 seconds of beating up on yourself is 5 megatons of pain weight. So you think the fuck up caused all that bad shit that happened afterwards. But maybe it was what you thought about the fuck up that caused all that bad shit that happened afterwards. All right, there's a device called a flywheel, and those of us that have had anything to do with mechanical shit at all, okay. A flywheel is basically, it could be little, it could be big, but on some like stereo equipment, some scientific equipment, like there's dials that you go click, 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 and then it's done. It has a lock. It'll click up to 10 or whatever, click, 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 click. 0, it locks. 10, it locks. Others, will turn, but they click, 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 click. You can go around and around like a safe. Click, 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 click. But then there's something called a flywheel, which has the least friction possible. And like you turn it, and the more you turn it, the more momentum it has. And it'll actually turn, the lower the friction is, that part will just spin for a while. That's a flywheel. Okay. So in using a flywheel example, you do the fuck up, and somebody just, the effect of the fuck up on the flywheel of momentum is boom. So it spins for a half a second, it's done. But you do this fucking fuck up with the 0.1 effect on the flywheel, and then you start thinking about how you fucked up. The minute you call it a fuck up, that bitch is gonna spin forever. And then you see the evidence of your rightness about how you were right that it was a fuck up. Punish yourself for the rest of your damn life. Why? Because you thought that what you did was a fuck up in the first place. So what if doing the action and you go, oh, that wasn't what I preferred, had a 0 weight on the pain scale?
Yeah.
So the quicker in the process you can remember, wait, why was I saying I fucked up? Why are you telling me I fucked up? I don't got that kick me sign no more. Don't tell me I fucked up. I don't want to hear it. I'm looking at what I did. I'm aware of what I did, and I'm going to choose otherwise to the best of my ability at the level of presence that I am at. I don't need any more convincing of the ultimate price that I'm going to pay. Guilt, shame, blame, punishment, unpleasant inevitabilities, blah, fucking blah, blah. I got a question for you, Rich. It's a yes or no question. It's a yes or no question. You ready?
Yes.
You can answer it however you want, but it's a yes or no question. Are you absolutely positive, beyond the shadow of a doubt? Now you get ready for something to happen inside of you over the next minutes, days, okay? I'm warning you. Are you absolutely positive, beyond the shadow of a doubt, that you have ever fucked up?
No. No. In fact, I'm absolutely 100% positive that I've never fucked up.
Okay. So understand that there's little parts inside of you that are still convinced that you have. But
I get it.
Okay, and when I ask you, it's okay. No. And when I ask you, you answer the truth. Let's don't ignore that they still might think you have. So the magic here is to remind yourself, and you can remind yourself exactly the way that I just did. The next time you have any feeling to fuck up, ask yourself, am I absolutely positive? Can I know beyond the shadow of a doubt that what I just did was a mistake? No. That means all those voices that were saying that it was or feeling that it was are in error. It's understandable. I love those little parts of me. I see how they could have reached that conclusion, but I'm not going to give them the credibility. I'm just going to tell them, it's okay. None of that's true, but your feelings really matter. I care about you. I hear what you're saying, and we're not going to go that way anymore. I love you, little parts of me that believe in fuck up. I love you so much. That must be really tough for you. And I used to agree with you, but we're not going to go that way anymore. Daddy is driving now, and we're going to play this game a different way. And I'm sure there's more people with more to say. I'm going to wrap it on that. And I'm going to say, anybody who lets that in, anybody who lets this session in, you just got plenty to breathe on, chew on, stew on, smile on, expand into.
Stay session ever. There's no dichotomy to attach to it. It's the session ever.
Always.
And now.
So, I just want to tell you that there's nothing wrong with you. There never was. There never has been. There never can be. I understand what you thought. I just like to point out that's just what you thought. And the feelings that arose from it. And then you chased them and you started spinning the flywheel with the thoughts that came after it instead of choosing to breathe and become present. And anything that you think is fucked up, anything that you think you ever screwed up, anything that you think is bad, anything that you think is wrong, anything that you think you ever did wrong, the thought itself is what makes it wrong. And then you have your flywheel spinning and now you got to deal with it. You can literally stop it at any point that you want. While loving the little and honoring the little ones inside of you who do think it. Understand, why would they think that? Of course they would think. Of course Christine thought that she had to carry everybody on her back. It's the only thing that made the pain stop when she was 3. And she has created a set of circumstances where she couldn't stop and look because someone might have fallen off her back and then they would have been upset with her and she wouldn't have been safe. Do what you want to do in a state of forgiveness and grace. Grace, reminding yourself that you are always in a state of infinite possibilities and you always will be. That's grace. You're innocent. You're in the Garden of Eden, walking hand in hand with God, which you are all the time. You never left the garden. You never left infinite possibilities. You just thought in ways that convinced you that you had. And then you were such an infinitely powerful, creative being, you've been able to prove it to yourself ever since. So I love you. I will see you in the group. I will upload this video as soon as possible. I will also, like a truly good salesman, I'm going to post the link for those of you to sign up for the next program. And aloha. Love you. Love you. Love you. Love you. Love you.